The JBL BAR 5.0 MultiBeam is an all-in-one soundbar that can be found for roughly £350 in the UK and around $350 in the US. In this video we're going to go through an overview and a setup guide, and furthermore giving you some sound demos of the soundbar itself. Now I'd like to thank JBL for sponsoring this video. If you're interested in purchasing the soundbar, do check out the links in the description below. We'll take you to your relevant stores. Now to kick things off, we're going to talk about the build quality and design, and the dimensions and the weight of the soundbar will be on your screen right now. What I will say is that it fits really well onto my cabinet and isn't too big in comparison to a 55-inch TV. Furthermore, it's pretty slender, which makes it fit perfectly underneath it, in other words not obstructing the view of the TV. Now I should mention that if you do have your TV wall mounted, you can wall mount this soundbar as well, because in the box what you'll find is a wall mounting kit including the brackets and the screws that are needed for you to wall mount the soundbar. Now elsewhere you'll find a HDMI cable, which is the preferred connection in my opinion, an 8-pin power cord, and depending on terms of your territories it'll depend on what the termination is. In my case in the UK it's a 3-pin cord at the end, and furthermore you'll also find a remote control which has 2 included batteries within the box, so therefore you don't have to be scouring for batteries if you don't have them. Now the remote itself allows you all the appropriate controls that you're going to need in order to control the soundbar. Speaking of which, at the top of the soundbar there are 4 physical buttons which allow you to turn off or turn on the soundbar, and of course reset it if you so wish, and you can also adjust the volume and change the inputs, which means that if you do lose your remote control for some reason, you can always resort to using the physical buttons found on the soundbar instead. Now in terms of connectivity, you've got an HDMI in and output, and here it's nice to see that JBL have integrated the eARC compatibility, so therefore if your TV does have the eARC standard, you're going to be able to basically benefit from uncompressed data, specifically if you're going to be using it via Dolby Atmos content. Now elsewhere you've got an optical connector, which I would say not to use. However, if you do have a very old TV and you don't have HDMI ARC, then you can resort to using optical input instead. You will also notice that there's a USB plug over here. Now this is in the UK solely used for servicing. If however you live in the US, you can use this for USB media playback. In other words, you can play back some MP3 files for example. So of course that's going to be up to you if you're going to use it or not, but personally and subjectively I always resort to using HDMI. Now elsewhere the soundbar supports Bluetooth, and here the SBC codec is available only, so therefore I would only resort to using this if you're going to be, let's say, sharing your soundbar with family and friends. If they want to quickly pair up to it, it's a pretty seamless process. If however it's yourself and you want to do a little bit more critical listening, then I'd very much suggest setting this up on Wi-Fi. I'm going to show you this in just a second. Here the 2.4 and 5 GHz frequencies are both supported, and you furthermore have Chromecast built in and Apple AirPlay 2, which means that if you are on any sort of device, be it on Android or iOS or a computer or Mac PC, then you can be able to easily play to the soundbar wirelessly without having to worry about any wires. Speaking of which, let's set up the soundbar on Chromecast. So you're going to need the Google Home app, and then if you go on the plus icon over here and set up device, and then look for a device. Now this will work in terms of the soundbar. It should pick up in terms of what is around, so we're just going to give it some time. And as you can see over here in terms of nearby devices, the JBL BAR 5.0 is selected. So we're going to select that and press next, and it's going to start connecting to the JBL soundbar. And you can see in the background that the soundbar is being recognized, it's switched on automatically, and it's picking up in terms of the source. Then you get treated with a sound, which we heard, so we're going to press yes. Then we don't have to do this if you don't want. You can set the room that you've got it in, set it in terms of the Wi-Fi, then remember it, press OK, and so now you can link it to your Google account if you so wish. So we're going to go with not now. You can include Google Assistant. That's not built in, but it's effectively via your phone, and you can see almost finished. If you just press continue, you can see that the speaker is now ready for your setup. Now after you've set it up through the Google Home app, what you might notice is the soundbar is updating, and that's to do with new firmware updates. So that might be applicable for you, and if it is, then just leave the soundbar to do its thing for about 5 minutes, obviously depending in terms of your internet connectivity, and it will say updating, give you a percentage. When it's fully complete, after it says wait and then load, it will switch off and you can see it's ready already on standby with no LED indicator. Now this gives us the chance to play back music. Now you can do so directly via the Google Home app if you want, but just for the sake of showing you, I'm going to go through Power Amp and use my friend's song from Priya J called Falling, and if I play music, it's playing directly from my phone. But now we don't want that, we're going to use the Chromecast and then go via the living room speaker. And you can see over there, the soundbar is picked up. It's picked up over Chromecast, and I press play, and it'll start through the speaker, and I can adjust the volume on the fly. So you can see it works simultaneously and really doesn't take that long to get set up. Now similarly, if you've got an app like Tidal, you can also use it via playing back music directly from Tidal. You can see over here the living room speaker. I just were to press that and it's now going via Chromecast and playing back the song. So it's very seamless again and allows you to play higher quality music over Wi-Fi, essentially wirelessly, from any device. Now you can do this on Apple AirPlay as well, which is pretty seamless and easy to do. And it's also got Alexa support. Now while it doesn't have built-in Alexa, it can be set up via the app, and therefore if you do have another Alexa device in the household, you can then ask it to play back music via your soundbar. So just for the purpose of demonstration, what we're going to do right now is add a device and press the plus button, press add device at the bottom over here, and then go down to figure out what it is, which is a speaker. And then you can select the brand, which is JBL, then press next, and then it'll say locate the 2D barcode for the JBL speaker, and that's located at the back. So right now I'm just going to go and scan the barcode. Now if for any reason you have issues connecting up, what you can do is also switch off the soundbar, switch it back on, then hold the TV button for 3 seconds, then press the Bluetooth menu, and this will be all done via the remote control and will initiate a forced Alexa pairing. So it's kind of like a troubleshooting as well. Now once you do get through it, be it via scanning the QR app or via the method I just said as well, you can go through your Wi-Fi settings. So we're going to input that right now. Once inputted, we're just going to wait for the soundbar to connect up to the Wi-Fi network and therefore set it out via Alexa. And as you can see right now, the JBL speaker is now connected to the Alexa account, and if we just go next, you can see you can add it to a group if you so wish, or we can skip, and you can see right now it's set up on my JBL speaker. So now you can see it says Alexa play music on Christopher's BAR 5.0 MultiBeam, and therefore you can play back music for, let's say, if you're in the kitchen or something like that, and send it straight to the soundbar. Now if you do not have a group, you can see over here in terms of all devices, and you can see the BAR 5.0 MultiBeam is at the top over there, including the Orbi voice, which is my network, and you can see Alexa on this phone as well. So it's quite useful for you to play back music wirelessly via your voice only if you so wish, or if you indeed use Amazon services. Now with the app set up, there is also another step that you might want to complete as well, and that is your overall room calibration, because the JBL 5.0 MultiBeam also has a built-in calibration tool which can be actuated by pressing the HDMI button for 5 seconds and then initiating the overall calibration from taking place. And here is how it sounds like. Now with these odd little beaming sounds that go around your room, I should mention that you'll want to set up your room as if you're going to be hearing it, and of course not move around in the room while the calibration is taking place, which of course is a very short space of time. So in other words, don't move your sofa from other places, and make sure that you're going to be sitting in the right place when you're going to be normally watching or indeed listening to content via the JBL soundbar. So now, before getting into a sound demo, I'm going to talk about the overall configuration of the drivers, because it's very much important for you to understand the setup that JBL are offering over here. Now here you've got 5 drivers in total, each of which is capable of producing 50 watts of power, and that means a total of 250 watts of power. Here you've got 3 speakers at the front, so you've got a center left, center right and center channel, and then you've got 2 sideward firing speakers as well. There is also 4 passive radiators which are comprised at the, well, off center of the soundbar. So if you look at the top grill of the soundbar, that's where you've got a passive radiator at the top and another one at the bottom. And these are effectively trying to deliver the low end response, where their frequency range sits off roughly around 55 Hz to up to 300 Hz. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is because of Virtual Dolby Atmos. Now, if you want full Dolby Atmos support, you'd effectively need upward firing drivers, where this JBL soundbar does not have upward firing drivers. As I mentioned before, side and center or forward facing only. So as a result, it takes a Dolby Atmos signal and converts it into, well, what it can produce, and therefore you don't have that extra height information. If you wanted that extra height information, you're going to need the physical hardware, in other words the upward firing drivers, and therefore you're going to have to invest more money in order to give you the full Dolby Atmos experience. Now elsewhere, it should be noted that the soundbar supports 96 kHz 24-bit audio playback, which is effectively high-res audio, and so for audiophiles out there who are wanting to play back music at a higher quality means that they're going to have a little bit of peace of mind playing back, be it wirelessly or via wired connection, to this soundbar. So with that all in mind, let's get on to a music demo, and here we're going to be using Priya J's song, which is titled Falling. In case you're interested in it, by the way, it'll be down in the description below so you can hear it for yourself. And while my overall setup won't be ideal because it's obviously being compressed via YouTube and coming via my microphone, it will still give you a slight indication of how this soundbar can actually sound like.
Then learn how to fly. It's the only way I know how to play this game. I'm crawling, I am crawling my way back to falling from so high, falling from so high, so high. It's a matter of time, I'll get on this mind.
Now you might have noticed through the sound demo that I was flicking through different levels, and that's because you can adjust the overall bass level as well, and this can be done independently from the volume. So this is quite useful for different type of setups. In my case, which is in a relatively small-ish living room, I found that the level 2 bass setting was the best. By default it comes with level 3, although I personally found that a little bit overpowering. So moving on from music, we're going to get onto a Dolby Atmos, or in other words a movie demo. Now here we're going to be using Transformers Age of Extinction. That's going to be played by a 4K Blu-ray player that's connected up to my TV, and I'll be flicking through the Dolby Atmos virtual on or off, and then also going via PCM input and Dolby Atmos, or Dolby Digital should I say, via my TV, so you can potentially hear the differences that that extra amount of metadata gives in terms of the overall sound reproduction. So hopefully this video has been helpful towards you guys, and if you've got any questions, do ask me down in the comments section below. And of course, if you do like this video, give it a like and subscribe to see more from the channel, and of course hit that bell notification to get notified in your YouTube inbox. And furthermore, if you want to keep up with my shenanigans, do follow me on social media as well. Alright, I've been Totally Dubbed, take care of yourselves, and goodbye.